My beloved child, why do your hands tremble right now? Because deep within your soul already understands this is not a coincidence. It is God's way of drawing you here in this exact moment. Archangel Michael says, stop. You will lose God if you do not listen right now. You have only 10 seconds to open this message fully. Time is moving faster than your heartbeat. And heaven has placed this moment directly in your path. You were not meant to scroll past this. Yet here you are. Do you realize what that means? It means your life is being written in heaven's ink right now. And your story has reached a turning point. If you walk away, you lose the miracle that has been waiting for you. If you stay, you will witness the glory you never imagined possible. My child, God whispered to me, tell them this is their final warning. If they close their eyes to this message, the blessings meant for them will be taken back. That is why I am here asking you for just a few seconds of your time. Before I reveal more, I must tell you something important. Subscribe now. Not as a simple click, but as an act of faith. Because when you align yourself with divine words each day, you open the door wider for miracles. This subscription is not just a button. It is a covenant. A small yes that tells heaven, I am ready. And heaven listens to that readiness with great attention. Listen carefully. This is not random. You have been feeling the weight on your chest, the quiet tears on your pillow, the unanswered prayers that make you wonder if heaven has forgotten you. God has not forgotten you. He sent me to remind you that every second you hesitate, the door to your miracle closes a little more. Archangel Michael says, you are standing at the edge of your destiny. One wrong step and the blessing falls away. One right step and heaven pours into your life what you have been waiting for. Stay with me because what I am about to reveal will shake the darkness off your life. My beloved, my chosen light, do you feel it in your chest right now? That sudden quickening of your heartbeat as if your spirit already knows this moment is sacred. Heaven has aligned your eyes with these words. Not because you came here by accident, but because your entire destiny has been waiting for this very doorway. Archangel Michael is speaking with urgency, and he does not come with such urgency unless the matter is eternal. Unless your soul stands on the edge of something heaven cannot allow you to miss. And I must tell you this with all the fire of heaven, you only have seconds to choose. Every breath you take right now is pulling you either closer to God or further away. Do not be deceived. Ignoring this moment is not harmless. It is the difference between divine intervention and painful delay. For days, for weeks, for years, you have been asking, when will my answer come? When will my tears stop falling? When will my prayers be heard? And God kept whispering, wait my child, the time is not yet. But today, at this exact hour, the time is now. The reason your heart has felt so heavy lately, the reason you have sensed something unusual around you, is because the heavens have been preparing to release what was held back. The miracle that carried your name was delayed, not to punish you, but to prepare you. And now Michael says, it is here. But they must not walk away. Beloved, do not walk away. You have only these few seconds to receive this because the enemy of your soul will try to pull your attention elsewhere, to distract you, to make you skip this message. If you close this, it will grieve the heart of God. The angel stands beside you now, holding something unseen yet powerful. It is a scroll glowing with a fire that does not burn. And written upon it are your next steps, your future blessings, your release from everything that has kept you bound. Archangel Michael is guarding this scroll. But he cannot place it in your hands until you say yes. That yes is not spoken with lips alone. It is spoken through your focus, your heart, your willingness to stay and listen right now without skipping. My child, every second you remain here is your yes to heaven. Every moment you choose to stay, heaven marks it as faith. And faith is what moves God's hand to act for you right now. This is not small. This is not ordinary. Your entire season is shifting through this choice. And even now, heaven is watching how you respond. And I must tell you something that will shake you. God said, "Tell my child. They were on the edge of losing me." Yes, beloved, these are heavy words. But it is not because you sinned beyond mercy or walked too far away. No, it is because you stopped listening, because the noise of the world began to drown out the gentle whisper of heaven. God saw how close you were to missing his voice. And that is why he sent Michael now, calling out, "Stop. If you do not listen now, you will lose alignment. You will lose the blessing. You will lose the path that was shining for you." This is why your chest feels tight as you read this. This is why your spirit feels restless. Heaven is pleading with you to stay. Beloved, imagine this. You stand at a crossroad. To the left, a path of endless delay, where prayers remain unanswered, where nights feel heavy and silent, where you keep asking why me and no answer comes. To the right, a path of divine release, where prayers unfold into miracles, where tears become joy, where the chains you carried for years turn into dust. And right now, this very second, God says choose. And my child, understand this gently, when heaven calls you to choose, it never leaves you without a path to follow. It provides guidance, step by step, so you do not walk in confusion but in clarity. My child, I see the weight you have been carrying. The quiet worries about money, the stress you rarely speak about, the nights when your mind refuses to rest. You have been praying for peace, and your prayers have been heard. You are not meant to walk this journey in confusion and fear. You are meant to walk with faith, with clarity, and with daily direction. That is why a simple path has been placed before you, a 30-day faith and financial breakthrough system. Each day you will be guided with a gentle prayer, a simple money step, and clear direction to help you regain control. Nothing overwhelming, nothing complicated. Just small faithful steps leading you toward peace and stability. If your heart feels ready, if you are ready to release this burden, begin today. The link is in the description, and in the comments below. Because the path you choose in this moment will shape what comes next. He will not force you. He never forces, but he pleads. Yes, the Lord of heaven who can move mountains without effort bends close to his child and says, "Please listen now." And I must pause here, not because heaven's urgency has lessened, but because you need to hear this truth. This message is not meant for everyone. It is not wandering through random eyes. It was written with your name sealed upon it. If you were chosen to see this, it is because your heart cried out in the dark nights when no one saw you and heaven answered. And now you have been trusted with something others are not ready to receive. This is sacred. This is personal. This is for you, beloved. Even as you sit here, you may feel your chest tightening with a strange mix of fear and hope. That is not coincidence. That is your spirit recognizing that this is more than words on a screen. This is heaven reaching through the noise of your day. The endless distractions that keep your eyes looking everywhere except upward. Archangel Michael has been waiting for this moment for hours, guarding the message your soul has been longing to hear. He has been moving in the spirit realm, urging, pressing, saying, "Now, now, now." And at last, here you are. Do not take this lightly. The moment you stop reading, the enemy rejoices, because distraction is the simplest way for him to take from you. But if you remain, if you keep your eyes fixed on these words, the heavens themselves begin to shift. That is the power of a divine word in its appointed time. And this is your appointed time. You may ask, why now? Why not last week, last month, last year when you were breaking down in tears? Why did God not answer then? And here is the truth whispered from his own heart. Because diamonds are not formed in shallow fires. Because what he is about to release into your life is so great, it required the waiting, the aching, the breaking to shape you into someone who can carry it without falling apart. You believed the delay was punishment, but heaven says the delay was preparation. Every sleepless night, every unanswered prayer, every door that closed before you, they were not rejections. They were refinements. They stripped away the fragile parts of you so that the unshakable core within you could rise. And now, finally, the fire has completed its work. You are ready. That is why Michael stands now, commanding you to listen, urging you not to miss this, calling out stop, because your destiny is seconds away from taking flight. Do you feel the weight of those words? Seconds, not years. Not some distant someday. Seconds. That is how thin the veil is right now between you and your breakthrough. But you must understand, this moment is delicate. A single thought of doubt, a single scroll away, and the opening begins to close. Heaven is generous, yes, but heaven also honors your choice. That is why I remind you, you have 10 seconds to open your heart. Not 10 minutes, not 10 hours, 10 seconds. Every breath you take right now is part of that countdown. That is why your spirit feels restless, why your stomach tightens, why your skin tingles. Because time is sacred in this moment. Every second echoes like heaven's clock growing louder. And if you say yes, your life will never be the same again. And deep within, you already sense that something is shifting. Beloved, let me take you deeper. There is a vision Michael has been holding, and I see it now. A table in heaven covered with scrolls, each one carrying a name written in golden ink. Angels move around this table, carrying scrolls across the earth, delivering them to chosen ones at their appointed time. And among those scrolls, shining brighter than the rest, is one with your name. For so long it remained on that table, guarded fiercely by Michael himself, because the enemy tried to take it. But God said, not yet. They are not ready. And Michael obeyed. He waited. He fought. He protected that scroll until the moment heaven would release it. Beloved, today is that moment. The scroll is no longer resting on the table. It is in Michael's hand, right before you. He cannot open it for you, only you can. But if you turn away, if you refuse, it returns to the table sealed again. Maybe for years, maybe longer. That is why Michael calls out so strongly, stop, do not miss this. I know your mind may whisper, this is just another message, nothing special. But ask yourself, why does it feel different in your chest? Why does your body respond as if energy is moving beneath your skin? Because your spirit recognizes what your mind does not yet understand. This is the answer to what you cried out for in silence. When you whispered into your pillow, when you clenched your fists and asked God why he felt so distant, heaven heard you. And though the silence felt long, it was never abandonment. It was orchestration. Every unanswered cry was heard, marked, prepared. And now those cries are coming together into an answer so powerful it cannot be delayed another second. That is why this message has reached you. That is why you are here. This is not entertainment. This is not coincidence. This is divine rescue. Do you remember those moments when you almost gave up? When you thought maybe I will never be free from this, maybe the pain will never end, maybe the waiting will go on forever. And yet something kept you moving, even if only a little. That something was not your strength. It was heaven holding you gently. God said, not yet my child, do not give up yet. The day is coming. And now that day has arrived. Archangel Michael is stirring the heavens with urgency because the scroll with your name is ready to be opened. Do you understand the weight of this? What is written inside is not only blessing. It is transformation. It is the release of every delay, the healing of every wound, the restoration of every part of you that was taken. It is not only about your circumstances changing. It is about you becoming new. And even now, that change is closer than you think. Do you remember again those moments when you nearly gave up? When you thought maybe I will never escape this, maybe the pain is permanent, maybe the waiting has no end. Yet something held you steady, even in weakness. That something was not you. It was heaven sustaining you. God said, not yet my child, do not give up yet. The day is coming. And now that day is here. Archangel Michael stands in urgency because the scroll with your name is ready to open. Do you feel the weight of this? What is written inside is not just blessing. It is transformation. It is the release of delays, the healing of wounds, the restoration of everything that was taken from you. It is not only your situation changing. It is you being renewed. But here is the warning. The enemy will try to convince you to stop reading, to dismiss this, to say maybe later. That is his greatest strategy. To whisper later until later becomes never. Do not fall into that. Michael's command is clear. Listen now, not later. Now, because when heaven aligns like this, when the moment strikes exactly, if you miss it, the alignment breaks. That is why this message feels urgent, why it beats in your chest like another heartbeat. If you honor this moment, if you remain, if you open fully, the gates open wide. If you ignore it, the gates close. The choice is simple, and it is yours. And heaven is watching with expectation. Beloved, hear this truth. God has not forgotten you. He has been working for you in silence. You may feel like nothing has changed over the years, but behind what you see, battles were fought. Angels stood guard around you when darkness tried to pull you under. Michael himself pushed back forces you never saw. And even when you felt alone, you were never alone. Every tear you cried watered the ground of your future. Every unanswered question echoed through heaven. Every broken part of you was gathered gently by God's hands. And now He wants to return them to you, restored into something beautiful. But He can only do it if you listen, if you open your heart completely, if you allow Him. And even now, He is waiting for your yes. So I say again, stop. Do not scroll away. Do not ignore this. You are standing on holy ground right now. Heaven has paused its endless movement to focus on you. This moment, this message. Can you feel it? The air feels heavier, deeper, sacred. That is not imagination. That is the presence of heaven drawing near, and Michael is whispering with fierce love, do not lose God. Do not lose the miracle. Do not lose yourself. Open now, my child. You may not fully realize how thin the veil is between you and heaven right now. If your eyes could see into the Spirit, you would witness Archangel Michael standing taller than mountains, his sword of light pressed into the ground beside you, guarding you from every distraction that tries to pull you away. You would see angels surrounding you, their wings stretched wide, whispering prayers over you, speaking your name into heaven's light. And you would see how the enemy, shaken and restless, is trying to pull you away from these words because he knows if you remain, his hold on your life begins to break. Yes, beloved, that is how powerful this moment is. You are seconds away from chains breaking that have held you for years. But only if you keep reading. Only if you truly listen. Heaven will not force you. God honors your will. But He pleads. He calls out, stay. Think back for a moment, my beloved. Remember every time you felt unseen. Every time people walked away. Every time you gave your all and still felt empty. Do you remember how your heart cried out for something more? That ache was not a curse. It was God lifting your spirit higher, refusing to let you settle for less than what heaven has prepared. You thought you were abandoned, but you were being preserved. You thought you were overlooked, but you were being hidden until the right time. And now Michael says the ripening is complete. The waiting has ended. The harvest is here. Beloved, this word is not distant or symbolic. It means the very things you thought were lost forever are about to be restored. The time you believed was wasted is about to be redeemed. The tears you thought were ignored are about to be answered with joy. But you must remain. You must not scroll away. You see, the enemy has always feared you. That is why your life has faced so many attacks. That is why betrayal, disappointment, and heartbreak found you again and again. Because the enemy knew if this child ever fully steps into what God has prepared, darkness cannot remain. And so he fought to keep you distracted, discouraged, delayed. He tried to make you believe you were ordinary, powerless, forgotten. But heaven does not agree with those lies. Michael stands now to remove that blindness and remind you that you were never ordinary. You were chosen before the foundations of the world. Every scar you carry is not a failure, but a mark of survival. Every wound has been preparing you to carry the weight of the glory that is about to be revealed. And here is something you must receive with a trembling heart. God says you are closer than you think. The blessing you thought would take years is already at your door. The breakthrough you believed was impossible is already forming behind the scenes. The relationship you thought was gone is already stirring. The financial chains you believed would hold you forever are already breaking. But here is the condition. Do not lose faith in these seconds. Do not ignore what your spirit already knows is true. Because if you walk away now, you close the door on what was about to enter. Heaven says tell them their miracle is closer than the next sunrise. Tell them their answer is nearer than the next breath. Beloved, pause here with me. Look at your hands. You may feel they are empty. But in the spirit they are open, glowing, ready to receive what heaven is placing into them. It is as if golden oil is being poured into your palms. Oil that heals, restores, and anoints. Do you feel the warmth as you read? That is not imagination. That is heaven's oil pressing through the veil, reminding you that you are chosen, that your prayers were never wasted. Every cry was stored in heaven's bowls. And now those bowls are beginning to pour out. Michael says, stop. Do not lose this moment. It is sacred. Hold it. And even now, something within you is becoming still, becoming aware that this moment carries weight beyond what words can explain. And here again is what you must hear with a trembling heart. God says you are closer than you think. The blessing you thought would take years is already near. The breakthrough you thought was impossible is already taking shape. The relationship you believed was gone is already stirring. The chains that tried to bind you are already breaking. But the condition remains the same. Do not lose faith in these seconds. Do not turn away from what your spirit recognizes. Because if you leave now, you close the door on what was about to enter your life. Heaven says tell them their miracle is closer than the next sunrise. Tell them their answer is nearer than the next breath. And heaven does not speak these words lightly. Beloved, pause again. Look at your hands. You may think they are empty. But in the spirit they are open and shining, ready to receive what heaven is lowering into them. It is as if golden oil is flowing into your palms. Oil that heals, restores, and sets apart. Do you feel the warmth? That is not imagination. That is heaven touching your life, reminding you that you are chosen, that your prayers were never lost. Every single tear was kept, every cry was remembered. And now the moment of release has come. Michael says, stop. Do not lose this moment. It is sacred. Hold it. Do not rush past it. And still I must remind you, the countdown is real. 10 seconds. Every moment you hesitate is part of it. That is why you feel the urgency, the restlessness, that deep pull telling you do not skip, do not stop, do not leave. Because this is not about information. This is about transformation. Your life will not remain the same if you allow this moment to pass fully through you. You will not recognize yourself in the mirror of your future because the chains that weigh you now will be gone. But if you ignore this, if you walk away, you may carry those chains longer than you were meant to. The choice is here. It is now. And heaven is watching. Do not think you are alone in this. Even now, in the spirit, your loved ones in heaven are leaning close. That one you lost whose absence still rests in your chest, they are nearer than you realize. They are whispering do not give up. Do not stop now. This is the moment you have been waiting for. Heaven is not silent. Heaven is moving on your behalf. The very skies above you are filled with light because of this word. And Michael, with eyes like fire, is pointing directly at you, saying, child of God, stop running. Stop doubting. Stop skipping. Listen. And even now, that call is reaching deeper into your spirit. Beloved, I must remind you again why this moment feels so heavy within your chest. Because heaven's time is pressing into your time. There are rare moments when the eternal meets the earthly, when the veil becomes so thin that every breath carries meaning, and this is one of those moments. Do you wonder why your eyes cannot look away? Why your heart keeps beating faster as if something is about to open? That is because your spirit already knows what your mind is still trying to understand. This is not just a message. It is an announcement. Heaven is announcing your shift. Heaven is announcing your release. Heaven is declaring that what you thought was buried is about to rise again. Archangel Michael has not been waiting for days, but for ages for this moment to reach you. Because every step of your journey has been leading to this point. Every tear, every delay, every hidden battle has brought you here. Do you remember the nights when you whispered in the dark? When you felt too weak to speak, yet something inside you still said, "Help me, God." Do you remember when you looked at your situation and felt, "I cannot carry this anymore"? Heaven remembers. Michael himself was sent in those hours. You did not see him, yet he stood at your door, guarding your space, pushing back darkness that tried to silence you forever. You did not hear him, yet his sword clashed with enemies in unseen realms, keeping you alive for this very day. That is why, even when you felt like breaking, you endured. That is why, even when you thought it was finished, something moved you to keep going. It was never luck. It was never coincidence. It was Michael holding the line until this moment. And now he is here speaking, calling, commanding, "Do not lose this moment, child of God." If you walk away now, you walk away from what heaven has protected for years. Beloved, I see something in the Spirit. It is a great book, larger than mountains, shining with a light so powerful it blinds darkness. It is the book of destiny where the names of God's children are written, where their calling, their blessings, their inheritance are recorded. Angels turn its pages daily, watching your life align with what was written. And I see your page. It is marked with fire, marked with tears, marked with prayers. For years it remained closed, waiting for the moment when the seal would break. And now Michael is touching that page with his sword. The seal begins to crack. The fire rises and heaven declares, "At last the time has come. At last the waiting ends. At last the story moves forward." That is why you cannot look away. Because the story that paused is now continuing. But hear this clearly. The enemy has always feared this moment. That is why every distraction, every attack, every heartbreak you faced was meant to keep you from this hour. He wanted you too tired to care, too wounded to hope, too numb to notice. He wanted you to scroll away, blind to what is sacred. But you are still here, and that shakes him. Because once you receive this word, once you hold it fully in your heart, the chains he placed on you will fall into dust. That is why you must remain. That is why you must not stop reading. Because your endurance in this very moment is the final step into your victory. Beloved, see yourself standing at a gate. Behind you is the long road of pain you have walked, betrayals, tears, broken dreams. Before you is a garden so radiant your eyes can barely take it in. Flowers growing where your heart was barren, rivers flowing where your spirit was dry, laughter rising where your soul only knew silence. And the gate, it is open only for a short moment. Michael holds it open, his hand filled with urgency, calling, "Enter now. Do not delay. Do not doubt. This is your gate. But the choice is yours. Do you remain outside looking back at your pain, or do you step into the garden prepared for you? That is the urgency. That is the decision. That is why God sent this word. But hear this again. The enemy has always feared this moment. That is why every distraction, every attack, every heartbreak you faced was meant to keep you from this hour. He wanted you tired, wounded, numb. He wanted you to scroll away, blind to what is sacred. But you are still here. And that shakes him because once you receive this word, once you carry it fully in your heart, the chains he wrapped around you will fall away. That is why you must stay. That is why you must not stop reading. Because your endurance right now is the final step into your victory. Beloved, picture yourself again at that gate. Behind you the long road of pain, betrayals, tears, broken dreams. Before you a garden so radiant your eyes can barely hold it, flowers where your heart was barren, rivers where your spirit was dry, laughter where your soul knew silence. And the gate is open only for a few moments. Michael holds it open, his voice filled with urgency, saying, "Enter now. Do not delay. Do not doubt. This is your gate. The choice is yours. Do you remain outside looking at your past, or do you step into what has been prepared for you?" That is the urgency. That is the decision. That is why this word has come to you. And let me tell you this with the love of heaven, you have been harder on yourself than God has ever been on you. You have thought, maybe I do not deserve this, maybe my mistakes have disqualified me, maybe God is done with me. But heaven declares the opposite. God says, my child, your mistakes were already carried, your sins were already washed, your failures were already forgiven before you even made them. I am not here to punish you. I am here to restore you. That is why Michael's message is not condemnation but urgency. He is not pointing to shame you. He is lifting his sword to free you. He is saying, stop running. Stop doubting. Stop believing you are unworthy. God chose you before you even knew his name. And even now that truth is trying to settle in your heart. Beloved, you must understand something more. This word is not only about you. It is personal, but it is also generational. What God is releasing into your life will flow into your family, into your children, into those connected to you. The curses that tried to hold your bloodline end here. The patterns of loss, of lack, of betrayal, they break here. Michael's sword is cutting not only your chains but the chains of those who will come after you. That is why this moment is urgent. Because if you walk away, the cycle continues. But if you stay, if you listen, if you open your heart, the cycle ends. Generations will speak of this moment because you chose to remain. And now hear this. You are not late. The enemy whispers that you missed your time, that your chance is gone, that everything has passed. But God says, I redeem time. What was lost I restore, what was wasted I return. Do not believe the lie that it is too late. Heaven does not work with expiration for those who believe. Today, what you thought was buried is rising again. Dreams you forgot are breathing again. Hopes you let go are stirring again. Promises you stopped expecting are moving toward you again. That is why Michael says stop. Listen. Receive. Because the resurrection is here. Beloved, do you understand what your spirit is touching right now? This is not just encouragement. This is activation. Heaven is not only comforting you. Heaven is unlocking something within you. For too long, the enemy made you believe you were powerless, that your prayers were lost. But God says every word you spoke was a seed, and I placed them in the soil of heaven. Now the rain is falling. Now the seeds are rising. That is why you feel this stirring, this fire growing as you read. It is not only emotion. It is awakening. You are awakening to who you truly are, the one heaven has guarded all along. Michael's urgency is not only about protecting your blessing. It is about reminding you of your authority. You are not under darkness. Darkness has been trembling at the thought of you stepping into this moment. And now you are here. Beloved, I see in the Spirit how your life once looked like scattered ashes. Pieces of you lost in heartbreak, in betrayal, in closed doors, in disappointments that shook you deeply. You thought those ashes could never be gathered again. But here is the mystery of God. He creates beauty from ashes, not in spite of them, but through them. He takes what you thought was broken and forms something new, something full of glory. The oil of joy flows strongest where the ashes were deepest. The garment of praise shines brightest where despair once ruled. And you, my child, are about to wear that garment. Michael holds it even now, resting across his arm, ready to place it upon your shoulders the moment you say yes. Can you feel it? That weight of despair beginning to slip away, that heaviness slowly lifting. That is heaven preparing you to wear glory instead of shame. And let me tell you a truth the enemy never wanted you to hear. You were never alone in your fight. Those nights when you said nobody understands, nobody hears, nobody knows, heaven was closer than your breath. Michael himself leaned near in your room when you felt abandoned. Angels wept when you wept. God held your tears in his hands, not letting even one fall without being seen. You were not ignored. You were being fought for. And the proof is this moment right now. If heaven had not protected you, if Michael had not stood before you, you would not even be here to hear these words. That should move you. That should remind you how chosen, how preserved, how protected you truly are. Beloved, your survival is the strongest proof that your purpose is still alive. But listen carefully. The danger of this moment is distraction. The enemy knows he cannot stop heaven from releasing what has been written for you. So he will try to stop you from receiving it. He will whisper, "It is just words, it does not matter, you can come back later." But Michael is rising above those lies now. Do not delay. Do not doubt. Do not dismiss because the alignment is too precise. Right now the heavens are open. Right now your miracle is near, waiting for your yes. Later is not an option. Later is the trap. Now is salvation. That is why every second of your focus is sacred. That is why your choice to keep reading is an act of faith. You are saying to heaven, "I believe, I receive, I will not miss this." And God is already responding to that faith. Even now, something is shifting because of your yes. But hear this again. The danger of this moment is distraction. The enemy cannot stop heaven's release, but he will try to stop your reception. He will whisper, "It is nothing, you can read later." But Michael's voice rises stronger. Do not delay. Do not doubt. Do not dismiss because this alignment cannot be repeated easily. Right now the heavens are open. Right now your miracle is waiting for your yes. Later is not the answer. Later is the delay. Now is the moment. Beloved, imagine this. A courtroom in heaven. The accuser stands pointing at your past, speaking of your mistakes, demanding that your blessings be held back. For years he has brought accusations against you, condemning, blocking, resisting. But then Jesus stands, showing his hands, his scars, his sacrifice. And the courtroom falls silent. Michael enters holding the scroll with your name and declares, "Time is complete, the case is closed, the blessing is released." Can you see it? The decision is made, the chains fall, the doors open, and what was delayed for years suddenly begins to move. That is why this moment feels like thunder within your chest. Because heaven's court has ruled in your favor. And now I must tell you what follows. Acceleration. What stood still for years will move in days. Prayers that seemed unanswered will open suddenly. Opportunities you thought were gone will return, knocking again. Relationships you thought had ended will find breath again. Financial weight you thought would remain will begin to break. Healing you thought was impossible will begin to show. But all of this begins with your yes. All of this begins with your decision to stay, to listen, to open your heart. Michael says the river is flowing. Step in, beloved. And even now, you can feel something pulling you forward. Listen closely, because this truth is one the enemy tried hardest to hide from you. You are not only someone who receives blessings, you are someone who carries them. The pain you went through was not empty. It was shaping you into someone who can not only survive storms but guide others through them. That is why people have come to you with their burdens. That is why even when you felt empty, you still gave. You are being formed as a vessel. Michael says the blessing coming is not only to lift you, but to flow through you. Those connected to you will feel the effect of what heaven is releasing. And here is the deeper truth. By staying here, by listening, you are not only unlocking your own destiny, you are opening paths for others around you. Heaven is writing a larger story through your obedience. Beloved, think of the word stop that Michael speaks. It is not harsh. It is rescue. Imagine a child running toward danger, unaware of what lies ahead. A loving voice would not speak softly, it would call out strongly, stop. Not to harm, but to protect. That is what heaven is doing for you now. God saw how close you were to missing this alignment, to stepping into unnecessary pain. And so through Michael, he calls out, stop. Do not miss this. Do not lose me. Do not turn away from what has been prepared for you. This call is love carrying urgency. And if you feel shaken, it is because heaven is shaking away everything that tried to keep you unaware. I must also tell you, beloved, restoration is not coming. It has already begun. Even now as you read, things are shifting around you. People who once overlooked you are thinking of you again. Situations that felt impossible are beginning to move. Closed doors are starting to open. Your eyes may not yet see it clearly, but the movement has already started. Michael says tell them the miracle is not tomorrow, it is now. What you feared was lost is already alive again. That is why your heart is beating faster, why your body feels alive, why you sense something moving within the unseen. Because heaven's flow is already around you. And yet, I must give you this warning. Not everyone around you will celebrate your breakthrough. Some will doubt, some will envy, some may even try to hold you back. That is why heaven is sharpening your discernment. You will need Michael's sword to cut away voices that were never meant to guide you. God says this season is about clarity. Do not confuse noise with wisdom. Do not confuse closeness with loyalty. I will reveal who is truly for you. And though it may feel difficult, this revealing is part of your freedom because you cannot step fully into your destiny while holding on to those who secretly resist it. Heaven values you too much to let the wrong hands carry your promise. Beloved, pause and breathe. Do you feel the weight lifting even now? That is not by chance. Heaven is exchanging your burdens for peace, your fear for courage, your sorrow for joy. Michael's presence feels strong around you because he is placing strength within you. For too long you carried yourself with fragile hope, barely holding on. But now heaven is filling you with endurance that does not break. That is why the countdown feels urgent. Because the season of barely surviving is ending. You are stepping into thriving. You are stepping into abundance. You are stepping into fullness that comes from heaven. The enemy wanted you to miss this. But Michael says no more. This child is moving forward. Beloved, look back for a moment at your life. Can you see how every season, even the painful ones, held hidden preparation? The betrayals that broke you taught you discernment. The loneliness that emptied you taught you to hear God in silence. The failures that humbled you created a foundation that will hold you steady when success arrives. None of it was wasted. Michael whispers, tell them, even the scars are crowns. Even the ashes are altars. Even the tears are treasures. That is why the enemy fought so hard to blind you with regret. Because if you ever understood how even your pain was working for your glory, you would walk unshakable. And now you are beginning to understand. You are starting to see the thread of heaven moving through your chaos. And the moment you see it, your whole story shifts from tragedy to testimony. Beloved, look back for a moment at your life. Can you see how every season, even the painful ones, carried hidden preparation? The betrayals that broke you taught you discernment. The loneliness that emptied you taught you to hear God in silence. The failures that humbled you shaped a strength that will keep you grounded when success arrives. None of it was wasted. Michael whispers again, tell them, even the scars are crowns. Even the ashes are altars. Even the tears are treasures. That is why the enemy tried so hard to cover your eyes with regret. Because if you truly saw how your pain was building your glory, you would stand unshaken. And now you are seeing it. You are beginning to notice how heaven has been weaving through everything. And in that realization, your story begins to transform. Beloved, I see in the Spirit a door. It stands tall, ancient, marked with symbols you cannot fully understand, glowing with a light that feels alive. You stand before it unsure because you do not know what waits beyond it. But Michael stands beside you, his hand resting on the handle, his eyes filled with urgency. He says, "This is the door your ancestors longed for. This is the door your prayers built. This is the door your tears unlocked. But only you can step through. Only you can receive it." Beloved, the hesitation you feel is not because you are unworthy. It is because fear is trying to speak. But God says, do not fear. Step forward. The door belongs to you. And when you step through, everything behind you loses its hold. Chains fall without struggle. Night gives way to morning, and the story you lived until now will not define what comes next. And I must tell you, beloved, time is being restored to you. You may feel too much has passed, that you are late, that chances are gone. But heaven is not bound by human time. God stretches time, gathers it, multiplies it, bends it for his children. The years you thought were lost will return multiplied. The seasons you thought were empty will bloom again with abundance. Michael says, tell them they have not lost time. Tell them time is now moving in their favor. And this is why the urgency is so strong. Because when heaven begins to move time for you, you cannot delay. Every second becomes a seed. Every choice to stay, to remain open, becomes an act of faith that brings what is coming closer. That is why this moment feels alive, because heaven's timing is speaking directly into your life. Beloved, hear this carefully. God is not only saving you from what hurt you. He is saving you from yourself, from your doubts, your fears, your patterns that held you back. For too long you agreed with thoughts that told you that you were small, that you were incapable, that you were forgotten. But heaven is breaking those agreements now. Michael lifts his sword not only against darkness but against the lies in your own mind. He declares no more. This child will not call themselves weak. This child will not believe they are unwanted. This child will know they are chosen. And even as you read this, something is shifting inside you. You are beginning to see yourself the way heaven has always seen you, radiant, strong, deeply loved. And that shift is the real miracle. Because once you believe who you are, everything else begins to align with that truth. Beloved, do you know why your hands tremble as you read? It is because your spirit recognizes truth before your mind fully understands it. For so long you have searched for confirmation that you are not forgotten, that your struggle had purpose, that your prayers mattered. This is that confirmation. Heaven sent Michael to call out, stop. Do not lose God. Do not miss this moment. You may not feel ready, but readiness is not what God asks for. He asks for willingness. And right now, your willingness to stay, to keep your heart open, is enough for heaven to pour into you. Can you feel it already? That gentle lifting of heaviness, that warmth pressing against your chest. That is not imagination. That is God drawing near, whispering, now you are hearing me. Beloved, I see in the Spirit a battlefield. It stretches wide, and at its center stands a throne. Your throne, the place of your calling, the place written for you before time began. Around it, darkness fought for years to keep you away, sending doubt, betrayal, fear. You thought your battles were random, but they were always about this place. Michael has stood with you through it all, protecting you even when you could not see. And now the enemy is tired, his strength broken, his lies uncovered. The throne shines brighter, waiting for you to step forward, to take your place, to walk in authority. Beloved, do not hesitate. Do not believe the voice that says you are not worthy. Michael says the sacrifice has already made them worthy. Their place is secure. They must step into it now. And understand this with a deep awareness. Your breakthrough is not coming from outside. It is rising from within. God is not giving you something distant. He is awakening what He already placed inside you. The courage you thought you did not have is already within you. The wisdom you thought was hidden is already present. The strength you thought was gone is already alive inside you. This message is not adding something new. It is unlocking what was already there. That is why you feel this fire growing within you as you read. That is your spirit remembering who it is, remembering its authority, its inheritance. And once it awakens, it cannot return to sleep. Beloved, you are not just receiving a message. You are being renewed by it. Think of how many times you almost gave up, yet you are still here. Think of how many doors closed, yet you continued. Think of how many voices said you were not enough, yet something inside you refused to disappear. That something was heaven's mark on you. That strength you could not explain was proof that you were chosen. And now Michael says, tell them they endured for this moment. Tell them their survival was the prophecy. Your very life is evidence that heaven is not finished with you. The enemy would not have fought you so strongly if you were not meant for something greater. But the fact that you are still here, still breathing, still reading, shows that he has already lost. You are already a victory before anything changes around you. And now the miracle comes to match what you already are. And beloved, as you stand in this moment, you must understand that this is not the end of the message, this is the beginning of your unfolding. Heaven is not just speaking to you, it is positioning you. Every word you have received is settling into your spirit, aligning you with what was already written for you. You may not see everything clearly yet, but something inside you knows, something inside you is saying this is real, this is true, this is my moment. Hold on to that knowing, because it is your spirit agreeing with heaven. Do not let doubt steal it, do not let distraction weaken it. Stay in this alignment, because what has begun in you will now begin to show around you. And remember this, my beloved, you are not stepping into something uncertain, you are stepping into what was always yours. What heaven has prepared cannot be taken, cannot be reversed, cannot be delayed any longer when you say yes. So stand firm in this moment, breathe it in, receive it fully. Let every fear fall, let every doubt fade, because the same God who carried you here will carry you forward. And as you move from this moment, know this deep within your heart, your life is no longer waiting to change, it has already begun.